How's it going, guys? I'm here with my business partner Trayvon.
Okay,
This is
I,
what
I need you to do it one more time. Come on, a little bit more
more
energy.
energy.
Yeah,
Not
more
well.
energy.
We're gonna don't stop the recording
I'm not.
because
I'm
what we're
not.
gonna do is we're going to make this raw. So I'm gonna accept that. Right now, I'm here. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm right here with my business partner Trayvon Martin. This is it's built in.
Trayvon Martin.
Trayvon
Trayvon
Martin.
Martin. Oh, oh my god.
Let me tell you something. This is actually going to be the best video. This is going to be the best video that we've ever made, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm a little bit uncomfortable. He's a little bit uncomfortable. I've messed up 2, 3 times already, and his name is not Trayvon Martin. His name is Trayvon Stanley. Is one of my best friends. Me and him have been in business now for 3, 4 years in our marketing company. Now we're building a large development firm, and knowing what we know from our marketing company, we're getting in the mode of using social and using video and content to build our brand. And this is our first. Well, what we're doing is we have now we have a YouTube channel, and it's called It's Built In. The name of our company is Built In Investments, but the media portion of the business, which is what we should spend the most time on, because it's going to drive the revenue for our development firm, is media. And like I said, I'm messing it up a little bit. I'm just introducing him. What we decided to do was we're just going to start to vlog our life, everything that we're going through in regards to building this. It's our YouTube channel and our media portion of our business. We decided, instead of coming in super polished, trying to be perfect, because this is something that we practice in our business and our marketing company and for other people, we're going to keep it raw. We're going to show you the ends of us starting this process, us feeling uncomfortable, doing a bunch of stuff wrong, figuring it out. I got to be honest with you. We just spent 30 minutes organizing our cameras and our setup and how we're doing what we do. We're on a platform called Riverside. It allows you to do podcasts and online, like you're in the same room. We're not in the same room. He's in what's the name of your city? Santa Ana,
Costa Mesa.
Costa Mesa, and I'm in Irvine. You want to jump in a little bit, Trayvon? Trey.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know why I'm calling you Trayvon. All of a sudden, the camera comes on. I start calling you Trayvon when I call you Trey every day, right?
Well, the camera comes on. You call me Trayvon Martin, and people haven't really mentioned that name for maybe a decade. If
Yeah.
we, yeah, really think about it, it's probably been a decade. I kind of want to Google search right now just to see how long ago that was from, because I want to understand how your mind works, given our partners. But let's just take a quick second, because this is raw, unfiltered. And during the time of when that happened, a lot of people would draw relation to mine. I would introduce myself, and during that time, I was in uh, a cold calling role. And anytime I would call like a southern region, they would always say like, "Oh, Trey, like Trayvon Martin." So I had to actually change my name to my middle name, which is Joseph, so I wouldn't get that pushback for about a whole entire year. I went by Joseph when I was on the phone, and that was actually 2012 is when that whole thing happened.
That's hilarious. So you're looking at 12 years ago, and it's
Yep.
funny because I've never done that before, and then all of a sudden, soon we're gonna the camera immediately. I called you that, so it's just weird how being nervous and what that'll do to you. So that's one thing. Now, in creating content, vlogging our life and where we are and how we got to from where we're going, where we are to where we want to go. That's the kind of thing that's going to pop up. You're just not comfortable when you're doing something that's brand new. Like the first time you ever drove a car, it's not a comfortable experience. But the key to, you don't stop driving the car because you're not comfortable. You just keep pushing through until you become comfortable.
Exactly. And this step has taken us quite a while to be able to cross the threshold and just sit down and record content as candidly, organically, and authentic as possible. Because even
Yeah.
starting this call, I was nervous myself. I wasn't sure what to talk about, how I would sound. And this just goes to show that you just have to take that first step. But
Yeah,
what I will say is being able to have a good setup gives you some confidence when you're moving into being able to
yeah,
create content in front of other people. And one thing to keep in mind is that we have talked on the phone nearly every day for the past 3.5 years. And when we get ourselves on camera, we are still nervous as can be. So just keep that in mind.
yeah.
Um,
Don't forget about that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Don't forget about that. And for anyone who is watching this, my full name is Trayvon Stanley, but most people know me as Trey. I am considered in the business as um, what all of our partners like to say is the tech guy, and that's cool. I'm happy with that because that's where I started was in working with tech companies and a sales background. So if it wasn't for going through that process of learning how to apply tech to business, I probably wouldn't be sitting in this chair today and maybe doing something else. Who knows?
and drop into that. I'll say this. It's funny because I'm more of a in the like Gary Vee says more. I'm more in the macro of the business, figuring out where we're going to go and what we're going to do. Working with you and having conversations in the micro on the small level of okay, this is what we should do and this is how we do, and you helping me execute those things has helped us sort of scale and grow, not only for you to learn around me, for me to learn technical things from you, and for us to scale and grow our business a lot faster. You know what I'm saying? So that tech portion, having partners in your business that are good at things that you're not necessarily good at, it I think it's extremely beneficial. You can't do it all yourself. You're not to build big business. You're not going to. You're not a solopreneur. You know, it just doesn't work that way. And even though we would like to, because it probably is easier sometimes not to deal with people, you know, it just the businesses does not set up that way. So
What I've learned is being able to deal with people in business is a skill that doesn't necessarily get talked about as often as it should.
yeah,
Because you have a wide variety of personalities who want to come together with the same common goal of building a business to provide value to the marketplace and their own lives. So having empathy and kindness when you're in kind of a cutthroat industry like real estate is it's hard to build a culture around that. But I think once you're able to tap into your associates and show them how much value you're willing to provide to them, you're able to turn the corner on being able to shift the idea of what culture should be in a company to where you are empathetic and kind and respectful to one another. You're not coming across as someone who is just wants to completely take control over the business. You're willing to be able to work with one another. So that's something that I'm still learning how to do. You know, like being the tech guy, I think you could kind of just get stuck in systems and how things work and forget that there's other people involved. You kind of just want to do things your own way, but it's always good to be able to close the loop on feedback all the time so you could just get better.
you know what I would want to sort of double click into that a little bit more, like go into that a little bit more. It you know one of the things that I noticed is different. I'm twice your age, right? Am I twice your age? Almost twice your age, right? And what I noticed different about business now as opposed to the 80s and the 90s of getting started in business. 80s and 90s, people didn't monetize every single thing. People nowadays in business make everything transactional because they're selling a course or they're selling this or they're selling a service. They're selling their time for money, which I think are good things. And you can build a certain level and a standard of business from that, from that sort of size and platform. But I believe that the problem with that is you can't go big because you're always in this perpetual situation where you're looking at numbers or is this person on my team? How much money do they want? and you're not really coming together, really um, pooling all of your resources, pulling all of your efforts, all of your time to build something new, taking up the gap wherever is needed in order to do that. So I noticed something really different about that, about because when you enter it, it was a time where people say, oh, let's do this together. Let's figure this out. Let's jump in there together. But it's this time now where, most people that you meet in regards to doing business now, the first question is, okay, what do you need? And then how much can I charge you? You know what I'm saying? And I just think it's difficult to build unless you just have unlimited amount of money to throw at something. It makes it extremely difficult to build, because even if you had all the money in the world, money doesn't build a business. Even if you had all the money in the world to throw at it, if the relationship is totally transactional, a lot of that spend that you spend to stand the company up will be wasted, because not all things work. You got to try a bunch of stuff. You got to make a bunch of mistakes in order to build a business. But if you're just sitting there constantly throwing money out just to even test stuff, just to test the theory, costs you thousands and thousands of dollars. Unless you already are IBM, unless you're already a Google, unless you're already established and you just have tons of money sitting around waiting to be deployed to build a business, and it's going to be hard to do anything like that. So I really appreciate our relationship and us being able to come together and figure things out together. This made things a lot. It's allowed us to make effort, make mistakes. Like for instance, this content that we're creating right now. Again, we spent 30 minutes before we jumped on, before we actually cut the camera on, like doing our setup. How's our setup? How's our lighting? You got to put it like this, set your camera like that, right? And then we're actually filming based on what our goals are moving forward and how we're going to use this, and sort of logging our business moving forward. How do we do that? That's going to be a lot of trial and error. This is going to be really bad before it starts to get good. And then it's going to be good for a long time until it becomes really, really good and our quality goes up. And then through doing that, we create a budget that allows us to scale and grow from there.
So there's a lot to unpack there.
Hmm.
We're talking about marketing, relationships, EQ, your emotional intelligence, um, how being able to build a business takes money and people, and be creating a thesis around what's going to work. That's that's a lot that was said. One thing that I wanted to really unpack was how people are extremely transactional in this day and age of being able to do business with one another. And this is my theory. Because marketing is available to everybody, there's an abundance of information out there. I think what the internet has done, and based on how people position themselves in the marketplace, is everyone's a DIYer. You're gonna do it yourself. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna go to YouTube University, spend a little bit of time there, and kind of create something out of nothing. So in your mind, you think that it's okay to learn everything on your own, bring an offer to market, create videos around it, drive traffic in to get people top of funnel, bring them in, and sell them an offer. Now, once you're done creating your offer, it's proven. You're moving on to the next step of paid ads. So in paid ads, that's extremely transactional. You're bringing someone in from a click to a funnel and converting them into a sale. So if you tie in the idea of that you're going to do everything yourself, create an offer, run paid ads, and bring as many people in as you can, without just to make as much money as possible. We've created a culture that's just extremely transactional in business. And for someone like me who is younger, and I never had the opportunity to go into business myself before. It's not that I didn't have the opportunity. I just simply didn't know what I didn't know. So I wasn't able to experience business before the internet took over. And that has created me being extremely transactional at the start of my entrepreneurial career, which you had to break me out of. I would
Yeah.
talk transactional, polished, uh, extremely corporate because I thought that's how I had to be. But in reality, you don't. You draw more eyes and are able to create relationships with great clients if you're authentic.
Yeah. That's spot on. But think about this when people go transact. One piece that I was just thinking about when you were saying that is that uh, think about it this way. Someone creates the offer, like you said, in the funnels and all that kind of stuff, right? They're not really betting on themselves. They're setting up something in order to get someone to sell somebody a thought, a thesis, or I'm going to teach you this. You give me this money because you don't have to fully see that project all the way through. Think about it. You're not really betting on yourself. You're not really betting on yourself. All you're doing is setting up in some way, shape, or form, almost like this a vehicle in which allows you to leverage people for money because they need it. You're sure you're theoretically solving a problem, but the percentages of actually solving the problem probably is more like 30 to 40% chance in most cases that solution works. But you're not necessarily saying, okay, well, the 30% chance of dealing with people, I have the opportunity to get into business with them, work with them, help to build something big, which is a lot bigger than just getting a little bit of a fee. Or I can just sell the solution and to get money now. That's the way this business is set up nowadays. It's trippy to me. I'm not saying that that's bad or wrong. I'm just saying that it's really not going to build you anything that's sustainable and big in the long term. It might be more beneficial to grow a real company, learn what it takes and what you have to do in order to do that, and put the work in, right? Put the work in building partnerships and relationships that can last over the long haul. Build something that can be structured, set up, and sold if you do, when you decide you don't want to do it anymore. Instead of just selling, instead of just trying to get leverage people for money. There's two different kinds of business, and me and you, I think nowadays we run across that a lot. People that really can be beneficial to our company. We bring them in, we try to work with them, and we see that at the beginning before they see what we're really doing, they want to go solely transactional. You know what I'm saying? And then through seeing that what we're doing in our culture and how we're looking to create partnership, we're looking to scale, we're looking to do it right, then pretty soon I think that assumption sort of changes and they're like, okay, well, I'm in it for the long haul. What do we have to do? You know what I'm saying? But there's two different kinds of business there. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just thought about that.
That makes perfect sense. And in marketing, marketing and providing a service is transactional. Being able to build a business in real estate, uh, specifically in the commercial space, and developing a fund is relationship based.
Yeah. Yeah.
My identity and experience is all based around marketing. As we've met a wide variety of people who are professionals in their niche. Let's take SEO for an example. We were able to understand that marketing just isn't paid ads. It's just not SEO. It's just not content. It's all of these things working together to be able to
Yeah.
create the best possible result for the highest conversion. So that's a relationship within marketing that a lot of people are missing because they go with a one pronged approach, and eventually that campaign will burn and stall out a lot like an offer. Whereas in real estate, it's all depending on what part of real estate you're in, it's 100% relationship based. So if you're able to build a large book of business and network, that network, if done correctly, holistically, just like marketing, you'll be able to increase your conversions and have a higher lifelong opportunity and being able to make money for an extremely long time in the same type of business without having to make a huge pivot on what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, now that we're in this conversation, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah. You know, it was funny when we went, Trayvon knows this. Recently, I went to a symposium that was, it's called Game Time. And at this Game Time event that I went to, it was full of people who have all $100 million businesses, $1 billion businesses, own football teams, basketball teams, um, large tech companies. And the reoccurring theme throughout the whole conversation was building something big, finding the right people to work with, and then taking care of those people and growing from there. Growing in relationship not only with your your partners, with the people in the business, and also your clients, right? But it wasn't no one on that stage that had the 10 million, 100 million, 30 million, $1 billion business. It was just them, and they hired everyone else on Fiverr. You know what I'm saying? Fiverr, they hired everyone else on Fiverr, and you just paid a certain fee to get a thing done. And that's it. No relationship, no suffering together, no partnership, no co-ownership, no let's figure this out. Let's make 100 mistakes. Let's make 1,000 mistakes. Let's make 2 million mistakes. One other recurring theme throughout that whole that conversation throughout that entire day was this thought pattern of everyone made a lot of mistakes. What they said always was you're going to make a lot of mistakes, but that's part of the game. They all said it was the mistakes that they went through that got them to where they are. But what does that mean if it's mistakes that you went through to get you to where you? That means that every mistake is costly. If you're just transactional all the way through your business and you're not building with other people, I'm not quite sure if you can even sustain paying for all the mistakes that you're gonna hit into, because people are just gonna charge you, so much money. So I think like I said, I don't even remember how we started on this conversation, but I'll say this. I think relational and us building together, which our team now, if you think about it, have you ever thought recently about how big our team has gotten? So we're looking at me and you, Hatch, Lubbock, Tarek, Kalani, Matthew, Nikki, and 8 associates, right? And then we have um, 3 or 4 contractors. So you're looking at now our team is ballooned to over. We have a in-house lender. Our team is ballooned to over almost 25 people, somewhere in the range of that. That are all we're all in it together. We're all rowing in the same direction. We all believe. We all have a stake in what we're doing, and it's made everything a lot better.
Absolutely. You want to
Have you
know?
thought about how many people we work with recently? There's a lot.
There's a lot of people. I haven't thought about it actually, and that's it's not that it's a novice move. And you've told me this before. Sometimes you get lost in the forest, and you just got to take a step back and look at all the trees. Is that the analogy that we you
Yeah,
use?
don't get lost. Don't forget the forest for the trees. So sometimes you can get in the woods of what you're doing so much. You're so focused on what's right in front of you, you don't realize that you're how big the forest around you is, how big actually what you're doing is.
And another reoccurring theme is everyone, not everyone, but for people that are passionate about growing and making more money, is the more affluent a client or person is, the less transactional they are in relationship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're
Absolutely.
spot. You're so 100% with that one.
Let's talk about, a client who was with us for a year and a couple months, when we were running our mortgage marketing agency at a time when the industry was at a complete standstill. Interest rates were skyrocketed, but yet we were able to scale his real estate and mortgage business up to about a 20-person team between both of those businesses. And he spent close to $70,000 with us in marketing, in ad spend, and as well as like management fees. You know, let's just be completely transparent here. Over the course of that amount of time, he was with us when we made mistakes. He allowed us to shift and edit copy, create new images. He is the kind of businessman that understood it takes going through a process in order to generate revenue. And there was a time where he was closing, if I'm not mistaken, about 6 months into the campaign, about 5 to 7 loans a month. He wasn't able.
Well, go into why do you believe that was? Because he wasn't really transactional with us. We sort of, in a sense, created a mini partnership. And again, we're rowing in the same direction, right? So he basically bet on us and we bet on him. So there's power in that. And then he didn't see what he was doing as investing in us. It was him investing in himself, right? That matters.
That matters. However, he realized the amount of effort that we were willing to push behind him to be able to keep the relationship rolling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we had the communication was efficient. There was never a time where he couldn't give me a call. I believe like there was times where I was like headed to, because we live in Orange County, and I was headed to downtown LA, and I would pull over for him if he needed any kind of service. Like I would have my
Yeah.
laptop with me at all times in that window of time when we were building and scaling the agency,
Yeah.
because I knew in order for us to keep the relationship going, I had to be on call, and that's what running a business by yourself is like. But when you have a team of people and it's relationship based, you're able to lean on one another. So you're not.
I would say one of the in everything that we're saying is that the big lesson that we learn is to work with the people that where you can work together, where there's actual relationship there. You're growing in the right direction. You're believing each other, and you're a team, as opposed to them being external from your business and they're discharging you, and that's what your relationship is about. Because over the course of doing whatever you're doing, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Think about it. It's just going to be a lot of mistakes that are going to happen. And if you don't have that person on your team, can you weather the storm of what are the mistakes that it takes to grow your business? Like I told you, the thesis that I heard that I carried away from that symposium the most was you're going to fail your way to success. But the question is, can your business sustain um, all the failures it takes to be successful if you have the wrong people on your team? If you have someone on your team who doesn't believe in what you're doing, they're going to be more poisonous. They're going to be gossiping. They're going to be rowing in their own direction. They're going to be just looking to see what they can suck out of the budget, not looking to ultimately grow the company. Because that, if you think about it, if the relationship's only transactional, what are they doing? They're sucking money out of they're focused on sucking the money out of the company and not really building the company. You can't go in two directions at once. You can only go in one direction. So we're sitting here growing, thinking about how can we all be successful, and what let's figure out what mistakes we need to make to become successful. Like we're going to fail our way through this content thing. We're just going to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be bad. It's not going to be good. We're not going to want to get on. But I didn't want to go to the gym the first time I went either, and I'm just going to keep going until I get to where I want to be. So, um, yeah, I think that's important. And it's funny. I don't even know how we got on this subject.
No, things kind of just kept rolling from here. Now, what I want to talk about is what brought us to this point of realizing how transactional business was, and that wasn't through our own idea and thesis. It was, we found this out by spending money with other people in our community
Hmm.
for an extended period of time, only to find out that the relationship was only transactional.
Yeah. I want to point out something to you I don't think that you've noticed either. I think that a lot of the people who taught us how to do what we learned how to do, they talked us into being transactional. And we sort of took the bait for a period of time and tried to be transactional, and we figured out it doesn't work.
It's not
Not
that it
just from
doesn't
people
work.
trying to
It's
do
just
it
not
from
who we
us.
are.
It's not who we are, and it doesn't work. It does for big business. It doesn't work because think about it. It was tons of times where, let's say that the Facebook algorithm or whatever our little gimmick was we had at the time. I wouldn't call it gimmick, but the marketing thing to do at the time we're into, then it changes. Then you have to you have to shift to something else. You know what I'm saying? Like okay, I'm gonna go down. We're running Facebook ads, and um, now it's email. Now it's this. Now it's that. You know what I mean? And all along, algorithms are changing. The market's changing. Industry is changing. Right?
Consumer behavior
Yeah.
is
Gimmicks
changing.
don't work. People come up with different offers. It's like this is the offer of the month. Right? And then 2 months later, as soon as you get that cracking, all of a sudden that's not the offer anymore. It's some other offer that you have to do. You know? And I think we did a little bit go down. I think we've ever sort of talked about it now that we're on the subject. But I think that even we became a little bit transactional there. We could have and figured out that's not the way to build business. But as soon as we became more, I think, but that's when we made the turn with clients, with people like the clients that you were talking about earlier, is that as soon as we became more real, as soon as we became more of a partner willing to pull over to do the work, and it wasn't a bunch about getting the money, I think things changed for us even. You know what I mean?
And I would say this is going a little deep here,
Hmm.
but we're going to be authentic. The way we communicated and worked together was almost became transactional at
Yeah.
a point.
Yeah.
And that when you're working in this environment and flow, eventually things will break, and they'll break at a point where you're just about to find success.
Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. I was just thinking about that just the other day. I think that we've gotten to a break point in the business where things are just breaking out and all these relationships are coming and we're getting contracts and things are building. We're moving in the right direction. We're seeing the light at the end of the rainbow, you know. And at the end, no, they had this expression, which I have to explain to you, to say, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You ever heard that one?
I've heard this one.
You heard that one? Okay.
Yeah.
Funny story. Usually when I give him all these little analogies, he doesn't know what I'm talking about. That's the first time I think you got one on me.
Yep, that's one of the
But
first ones.
we see the light at the other end of the tunnel, and it's not a train, so we feel pretty comfortable. We're about to make it through there, right? And I was just thinking about what you just mentioned. You know, sometimes it gets the hardest right before you're breaking through. That's why you can't. You have to continue to push through. You have to double down. Like even this video right here is a double down video. It really is. It's us doubling down because you wouldn't think, okay, just do more work. But, you know, the hardest thing that we'll probably ever have to do for ourselves because we really don't want to do it is the content piece. You know, it's just not natural. It's something that you just don't want to do, but it's something that you have to do. If you're not known, it's just how are you in business if people don't know who you are and what you do?
Would you be able to take us back to when you got into real estate and saw some success and how business was done back then? Fast forward to today and how much opportunity there is with being able to create content around your own personal brand. And that actually, despite this being a hard shift to make for someone to want to make more money and put themselves out there, it's actually quite possibly one of the best times to be alive.
Yeah.
And if you're able to, not you don't even have to master it, because I think Alex Hormozy said that there was a girl that had about 5,000 followers and she was able to make um, around $1 million. Is One, you don't have to have a lot of capital to start. Chances are you probably already have the thing that you need to be able to do what it is that you need to do. And then two, it's you don't have to have highly edited videos and an audience to be able to create the amount of revenue that can in fact have a life changing effect because of what's available for today.
Yeah, I would say, well, I started in real estate. You know, it's funny because I used to clean carpet, and I clean carpet in Los Angeles in a city called Torrance, is South Bay, and I did clean carpet all over LA. Pretty good business, you know. Back then, I was tripped out because I think I was a kid. I graduated from high school in 1985, and I had this business in 1989, and in '89, I'm making, you know, $1,000, $2,000 a week
Hold
sometimes.
on
So
one
what?
second. I was born in '89. Just to let everyone
Oh,
know.
that's crazy. Yeah. So I'm literally, you know, making anywhere from, you know, $2,000 $3,000 a week cleaning carpet, and you would have thought that that was really really good, which it was. And to be honest with you, I drank. Me and my buddies drank and partied majority of it away. So don't give me too much credit. But in doing that business, I happened to do a lot of work for brokers and real estate investors, and you know, my some of my clients end up being just real big clients. And it's funny because them being in business and seeing my hustle, they just wanted to help me. There was no, and just so you granulate a little bit for you, the time that we're in, there was no computers, there was no internet, there was no cell phones, there was no tech, it wasn't even texting. There was no social media. There was none of that stuff. So basically, when you build a business, you either ran an ad or you put out flyers or you went to door or people really and legitly referred you a client. So, in me cleaning carpet, I had a lot of clients who had big business, and they would see my hustle and say, because it was unusual back then it was very unusual back then for a person to want to be an entrepreneur. If you said you wanted to be an entrepreneur, people looked at you like you were like something was wrong. It's like saying I want to go to jail or something. It's like, what? You know, are you crazy? Basically, if you did, people didn't know you were in college, going to college, or had one of those kind of careers that had something to do with around that, you were a loser. You were stupid. So when I'm cleaning carpet, I'm doing well, relatively well for the time that I'm in. This guy named Bill Hankins is one of my clients, and he says, if you ever want to learn how to do real estate or how to do an investments, I'll teach you. So I said, okay, cool. I'll take that up. And I didn't take it up at first, but then through cleaning carpet and doing work in his project, I kept seeing he had all these different projects, and he would tell me all the time, I only have an eighth grade education, blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh wow, that's cool. So eventually he tells me, he says, I'll teach you how to what they call property speculate, which means that what you do is you take a foreclosure list, you take a territory, you go and look at all the houses that are going to be in foreclosure. You do the numbers, run the numbers on what they owe as opposed to what the house could be worth and how much it takes to fix it up. If the numbers pan out, you knock on the door, you ask them if they either want a loan. If they don't want a loan, can you buy their house? So what I would do is I wake up really early in the morning. I would clean carpet. I would get my guys out doing the work for me. During the middle of the day, I would go and I would look at property all day. I would look at 50 to 100 houses in a day through South Central. And then I would clean carpet in the evening. And that's what I did for a long period of time. Um, Ended up becoming pretty good at it. But to be honest with you, it took about a year. It took about a year to get my first deal and make. I got $15,000, and it took about a year to get that money. But I found someone who wanted to sell their house. I was able to get the contract. My boss at the time, this guy Bill Hankins, bought the house, refurbished it, sold it, and I made a check. And it took about a year and a half to get that check. And so I was looking at 50 houses a day, Monday through Friday, and even Saturday. So you're looking at about 250 to 300 houses in a week I would go look at. And it would take about an hour just to get your list together before you went out to go look at the houses, right? To map it all out. Because we didn't have navigation. We did everything through a big map book called, it was called a, what did
Thomas
they call
scale.
those? Thomas guy. Yeah, that's what it was. It was a Thomas guy. And that's the way we looked at properties. And but through doing that over a long period of time, I got pretty good at getting people to let me buy their house or refinance it. And I did that for a while. I got pretty good at it. Then pretty soon I started buying, fixing, and selling. And I would say the difference between then I had a mortgage company for a while with some guys, and I had another mortgage company, and I went to design and construction. I did those flip this house, flip that house show. I did a lot of different things all through different, depending on what economic situation we were in at the time, whatever the economy was, I would shift based on how I can make money, right? So that's why I ended up in a lot of different industries in real estate. But the difference between back then and today is that information was harder to get back then. Someone had to teach you or tell you, right? Now it's easy to get information. And the difference now is that you had to slow grow a business because it was hard to get exposure. When the difference is today, it's easy to get exposure. Literally, if someone's out there thinking about, okay, I have a small business and I'm thinking about building this business, and you've been in the business for 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, there's going to be a new person that comes in right now that knows nothing about your business that can go to YouTube University or whatever, or pay somebody for some course, learn your business overnight, but that's better at creating content, having a conversation on camera, which is your forward facing resume, right? Pretty soon you become known, and people are offering you properties, they're offering you money, they're offering you to partner with them on deals. That's how it's an easy way to find contractors, to find investors. It just brings everything to you, and you don't have to be out trying to spread your energy all over town. There's someone out there who doesn't has no experience right now that will get trained up in some course, that will learn on YouTube, that will put a little bit of money, but is really good at creating content. That's gonna dwarf you and be 10 times bigger than you are in the next 2 3 years as the housing market rebounds. Not because they knew more than you, not because they had more experience than you have, but because they were willing to become known. And becoming known gives you access. We have someone in our business. I'll let you later on in other opportunities. I'll let him tell his story. But our partner Lubbock, he basically has built up and become known and has parlayed it into being a VP of a bank and building huge business for himself within a couple of years, just from becoming known, just from networking, connecting, and creating output on their when it comes to their to content. It's a game changer. Now, to be honest with you, I need to do it more. I haven't done it as much as I should have, but the reason why is because I come from a different era. And it feels uncomfortable for me, but I'm going to have to force my way through or get left behind, because this is the new way of building business, to be honest. Everything becomes easier. That's okay. You asked me a question, and I would say the difference is if you do this, you can take a percentage of your energy, devote it to one, and pour it into one portion of your to-do list, and it makes everything else easier. If not, it's not. It's the you know what I would say. It's in theory, it's the closest opportunity to take your energy and turn it into a laser. What we used to have to do back in the day, we would spread our energy all over in business. But now you can educate yourself and pour the majority of a certain, let's say 30, 40, 50% of your energy into content. And like a laser, it's going to exponentially scale the other part of your business. I think this is where we wrap up. Now, I will say this is version one. we're going to be looking at all this and making our adjustments. We're going to watch our videos, make our adjustments, and look at our quality, our editing. Um, like I may look at this video and realize I say too much. Where do I need to look at the camera? Am I looking dead on? Am I looking at as I'm talking to Trey? Do I look at Trey? You know, but make the adjustments. Like I'm taping this through Riverside. You tape on your computer, and it's supposed to turn it into 4K quality of sound, and not only sound but also camera. Is that true? Does that look right, or do I need to switch to where my iPhone is taping, and then I take my iPhone and I put a mic on it to up the quality. But long story short, this is just a working process for in progress rather for us as a company. We're inviting you guys to sort of be in the middle of us this process of what we're doing or how we're building our business. Our plans are to everything that we do on a daily basis, all the mistakes that we made, the things that we've learned, how to do whatever it is that we do on a daily basis. We're going to be teaching you guys how to do those same things, putting it into PDF. So it's not that you just have to write notes about what we're doing. We would actually we're going to give you the blueprint and from everything that we do. So, but in order to do that, we're going to have to put ourselves out there a little bit, and was what we encourage you guys to do it. Do the same. What you got, Trey?
I'm glad we got our first rep in.
Yeah.
We are gym. Let's just call it. We're gym rats.
Yep.
We love to work out, and getting the first rep in is so crucial. Just like, I mean, you could imagine how hard it is to go to the gym for the first time in your life. Just getting to the door, and being able to open it and get your first membership is it's tough, and sometimes it takes years to be able to do that. Now that, like you said, we've been in business for quite some time together, and this is the first time where we've taken the time to just set up our cameras, get adjusted, and kind of just understand how to work on the Riverside platform. I'm excited to cross that bridge with you and see what the future holds.
Yeah, I think it wasn't that bad, to be honest with you. I think it was pretty good. It wasn't as hard as you think it is, huh? Me either.
Just like when you go to the gym, you think everyone's gonna stare at you, and
Yeah,
nobody cares.
yeah, that's true. That's so true. So, but in thinking about it before we wrap up, it's the same as the whole gym theory of the same as the whole gym theory of what gym am I going to go to? What time am I going to go? What am I going to work on? What's my split? What do I eat afterwards? You know what I'm saying? How many days do I take off? How many days do I work out? How many days do I take off? Because I remember working out and starting, I did all body parts, not understanding certain things have to rest. Now I have a certain split. I do chest tries, back buys, shoulders traps, legs and biceps. I've been doing that for almost 40 years. Same routine over and over and over again, because not only do I get to break down the muscle and hypertrophy, but I also give 48-hour rest for everything, and it helps it grow. Nothing hurts. You know what I'm saying? But it took me years to figure that out. I know what days I like to go. I know how many days I like to take off. When I'm getting too big, I need to cut. I do 3 days on. No, I do 6 days a week. When I want size, I do 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off, because I grow more from rest. So it's just one of those things where you just sort of figuring it out. Our goal is to figure out how to effectively vlog our lives and put it out there, but understand why we're doing it. We're literally doing it to get. We're doing it to be known. We want to become well known in our industry and who we are and what we do in order to help us build business. So that's why we're doing it. That's why we suggest that you do it. And happy if you take the journey with us. We absolutely love it. So
And welcome to It's Built In.
It's built in. Yeah, I love
It's
it.
built in.
The
See, that's
name is the name. Like we went around and around because it was going to be what before built in
built
what
in media.
built in media. Now it's built in.
It's built in.
So if you got a comment on what you think about the name, we like it. But it doesn't mean we're going to change it. But we like it. It's built in because our business is that everything is sort of built in. It's the name of our company, and it's built in. We think works. So cool. I'm good.
It's built in, guys.
It's built in.
Take it easy.